Starting lineup: Gwen, Set, Annie, Caitlyn, Lux, up against Garen, Warwick, Lucian, Trundle, Yuumi. Rating of the picks for a casual game: Gwen as a top, 10. Set in the jungle, 5. Caitlyn as a shooter, 10. Lux in support, 7. Garen as a top, 8. Warwick in the jungle, 8. Lucian as a mid, 7. Trundle as a shooter, 6. Yuumi in support, 0. This game featuring the brothers Pawlowski and Majkowski here. Majkowski with a snoot full of booze in this game. Observe the horror of this Belgian woman playing the cat, the magical cat, Colette Cotelette. A nightmare revived. Facing a difficult matchup here in this Lucian, and we have League of Legends, our good friend who has already been featured on 4 or 5 other episodes on the channel. Perhaps more. And who is a real-life human being, who is a practical Satanist who keeps making new accounts over and over and over again until he gets his desired win-loss ratio. And he calls all of his accounts League of Legends. His favorite positions are Garen as a jungler and then steal the top lane, or Brand as support, and then try to solo the bottom lane. And for the first time ever, we're actually going to see some human interaction in this game from this League of Legends individual. A good way to summarize this game would be that I can point out that this practical Satanist in League of Legends, who's the embodiment of a troll player who lives to steal the top lane or to engage in general trolling, was probably my best teammate overall. Moving on. Opening play, we have a little bit of tactical action here, as Trundle is going to learn all about bushes, as this Mike player, who is not at all drunk, is going to make his first retreat. Eventually the meetup between Gwen and Warwick, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, what on earth are you doing? What did you think was going to happen? Because yeah, when you see via a ward that I placed that Warwick is there, you go there, you end up fighting Warwick, and then you're super surprised, then yeah, that's kind of strange. Because you could see him. You seemed to expect that Warwick was going to magically surrender. The Big Mike plan, and we are not at all drinking. Nothing to see here. Tactical repositioning that leads to first blood. And for the Warwick encounter, people so little used to having wards up, which I am supplying now that I'm mid-laning, that they don't even know how to respond to this kind of information. Just utter bewilderment as we seek this guy out and then are surprised that he's there. And this Trundle player, a person whose escape is pointless, someone who's lost their clarity or sense of direction. And these naturally high base stats are just doing nothing for you here. You need to get to bed and sleep it off. It's 3 a.m. and you're boozing. Thankfully you're not cruising. Time to get to bed. Mikey, lights out. We're gonna have some chick think and come to the conclusion that we can push Trundle and Warwick and the cat back when they're at their own turret, but then Warwick by himself is somehow going to charge us all the way down to our own turret and then execute us. Because you're afraid of Warwick by himself, but you're not afraid of all 3 of them at the same time. You genius. Observe then the horror of this cat invading this drunk Trundle player and telling him, WTF do you think you're doing? Don't you know that when you're playing in a game with the cat, you have to move exactly as the cat says? Because you have now signed up for 50 minutes of Summoner's Rift here in League of Legends, where you are just supposed to follow this emotionally handicapped woman's orders. Because we cannot find a man in real life to order around and to ruin. So we're going to log into a video game promoted by Microsoft, which has a bizarre amount of female players on it, and somehow find a space where we can order men around like we would like to do in real life, but we're not hot enough in real life and we can't get a man in real life, so we're gonna do it in this League of Legends game instead. The cat, the worst thing of all. If you're doing everything wrong but you're not doing the cat, God bless you. Rule number 1 in everything, don't do the cat. And this Trundle put together with attack speed, and just as brittle as can be, of course. Playing with my plushie in the mid lane, leave me alone. We have this battle strat from Mike the drunk guy, who has resolved to just stand in place next to the turret. We have me at the Drake, because I'm used to jungling anyway, and what the heck. You get one on the house. Because we have no real jungler. And they may have the more typical woman in this Yuumi player, but we have the more useful one in this Lux player. And this is where you get deceived by this physical appearance, which I knew would become a thing. Warwick just looks like a behemoth. Annie looks like nothing. So you end up underestimating me. You're not accounting for my items. And the surprise effect is double because within mages, Annie is a kind of berserker with very short range. Just remember now, Mikey. When you're at the fountain, it's bottoms up, but when you're at the turret, it's bottoms down. This French woman coming up with a great chase down ID. Anybody with a basic level of strategical insight could have told you that that was guaranteed to happen at this point in the game. Thank you for increasing the enemy's gold pile. After he's done, Mikey's gotta take a sip. Gotta huff and puff. And then this inebriated man is gonna come down the middle, but he doesn't know when to stop, and I'm going to take that freebie. Turret is still undefeated. The good news is you have time to sip your drink while you're dead. It is as safe as a fortress with no cracks, standing unyielding against the storm, and this Lucian player trying desperately to coordinate with the rest, and to try to save them, but just in vain. He knows, of course, that every time they die, the opposing team receives money, trying to play as a team as best he can, but it's just in vain. In the end, Lucian will be the only player who is capable of avoiding handing the enemy team money. And from this point on, this Lucian is going to spend a lot of time running away from me. He seems to have come to the realization that Annie can burst him down. And make no mistake about it, this is opening with your ult here, as Gwen. You're just throwing that needlework around. Is that really how you want to go about your ultimate? If Gwen hits an enemy champion 3 times with that, she gains a bonus movement speed buff. This is a high damage ability used for burst damage or finishing off enemies. Seems to me you're not doing any of those things. And this Mikey Trundle player trying to clean it up, but it's all in vain. The beer is all gone and now all we have is Jägermeister. That's going to give you pause. And logic would dictate you get out at this point, but it's all or nothing with this Warwick player. You have some of that French mentality and there's no retreat. Open the play and we're gonna follow Warwick here for a while. I haven't seen you use that Warwick CC ability at any point. You seem to think that it is redundant, since it doesn't deal damage. You're going to see your moment of opportunity here as Warwick, but you're seeing it wrong. Going up against Gwen and Sett like that, your mindset is stuck in the wrong video game. It seems like on a mental level you're in some kind of dark fantasy rather than in a MOBA. And if you're Lucian, you're just going to hit Caitlyn with Ardent Blaze. If the mark hits an enemy, it damages them and gives Lucian and any allies who follow up a movement speed boost. A great tool for engaging and escaping because of the speed boost. Crucial when to chase or disengage. Part of that highly mobile kit for Lucian. Mikey is half in the bag, and that stun is gonna keep him from leaving your welcome. Now we got Annie doing the CC rather than Lux, like I'm playing support. This French stout courage again with this French girl Gwen. Very difficult to pull off that kind of mindset and mentality when it's a numbers game and not an honor game. Mikey coming after the turret here on later. He's made up his mind going to push that top lane. Mikey put the Jägermeister down for a second, but now he's picked it up again. And he's just going to have a celebratory drink from taking out this turret and this inhibitor. The most hilarious part of this game is the fact that the most crucial damage to the base was actually done by this drunk fool. Because to be honest, this Lucian was clearly the greatest player in this game. He was being a little bit too safe. There's something as being a bit too careful, and that is definitely the case with this Lucian player here. Just thinking only about preventing deaths, which is something that most people never think about, but this Lucian ends up never making a real contribution to any of the damage to the infrastructure. Break it all up into smaller bits and pieces. Let's analyze this game. We have Garen, who put his character together like Yasuo. Why not just play Yasuo? The abuse of Garen, one of the most frequent things you will see in League of Legends casuals. Pretty much try to make him as weak as possible here, building him with Phantom Dancer. I think this Garen player was mostly a net negative for his team. I think he ended up providing a lot of gold for Team Blue. We have this Warwick player of the Pulowski and Mykowski brothers. He only ever used 2 spells, Jaws of the Beast, and then his ult. He almost never used his summoner spells, and they were up the entire time for no reason whatsoever. I imagine that this is the only character that you can do anything on. Warwick is the easiest character in the video game, bar none. Even Cho'Gath takes some kind of planning and some kind of mana management. Warwick is just, you're almost unkillable, but you have nearly no technical tools and nearly no useful abilities outside of your incredible strength. Now go out and run around with quasi-infinite mana and just claw at people. And what you capitalize on here, Warwick is a bruiser tank, adding any kind of brawn, such a net positive. We have this Lucian player, the best player in this game, and naturally my matchup. One thing I will say, I didn't see you use that summoner spell Ignite a single time. Make sure that you don't get a bunch of stuff and then never use it. Tremendous patience from this guy, and just the burden of having to put up with this stupid cat the entire time. Definitely the key figure to this game. Then we have Mykowski of the Mykowski and Pulowski brothers. A bit tipsy, pretty buzzed, a few sheets to the wind, feeling merry, slightly off the rails, half in the bag Mikowski ended up doing the most significant structural damage because the only deaths that are acceptable even at the very highest level is the sacrifices you make to compromise the enemy structures and the enemy team, and this is a very valuable sacrifice that you made. And definitely, you had at least that one good ID. Then we had the cat. Being the cat, I will grudgingly admit that for a Yuumi player, you were efficient. But you're still trash, because you're Yuumi. Then we have Gwen carrying the French spirit in her little French girl heart. Did a ton of sacrificing, but very little thinking. I would argue, my darling French girl, if you're going to blow yourself up, then at least blow yourself up at the enemy base. Then we have this practical Satanist in League of Legends who has already appeared in over 4 videos on this channel, playing Sett here. I mean, you know you're in the late night casuals when these people who are trying to hurt themselves like this League of Legends, who are intentionally clowning, end up being pretty much my most reliable teammate. It was close between Sett and Caitlyn, but when you add up the natural high stats of Sett, it ended up being Sett probably was my best compatriot here. Then we have myself, without any exaggeration or bragging, clearly the best player on Team Blue, and the only reason why we were able to hold out this long, which is, to be fair, the entire reason why I'm playing Annie in mid nowadays. I definitely could have protected some of my turrets better. However, everything else that I undertook, like going after the jungle objectives and hunting down isolated targets, I did absolutely beautifully for a rookie Annie player. And just feeling that impact of the mid lane position. It's too bad that we're in queue way longer now, and it's too bad that so many teams are waiting for a jungler for their team. But I'm sorry guys, I just have to play more impactful positions if I want to turn this stuff around. Then we have this Caitlyn player. I suppose I just really trusted this player because I really like Caitlyn in shooter position, and I really like that skin and that look. But when you actually look at the facts, incompetent. Then we have this woman or person trying to become a woman, or person trying to say that they're a woman, in this Nova M. Rose Lux player, and you are the reason why Lux has been a low score for support for so long in our score system. As a support, Lux really is overvalued. And the only reason why I've been increasing her score lately is because I understood that the community has some kind of special fetish that has to be fulfilled, that we absolutely have a traditional shooter in ADC. Because other than that, when you already have Annie, you already have a mid, you already have Gwen, and to a lesser extent, you already have Caitlyn. This Lux player is just fulfilling a role that nobody has any need for here. And then of course, just following the stereotypical trends on the interwebs and the internet, and just getting a bunch of faker items, which is just like, dude, you want to take this all out offensively to the max? You want to really build them like, you really want to put together Lux like some kind of killing machine? You think your aim is that good? We mainly learn 3 things from this game. Number 1. Making sacrifices like this Mikowski player is in some cases actually okay if you're using it to bring down the enemy structures. That is an example of a good death and the entire thing that shifted this game. Number 2, There's probably a reason why people have traditional team structures and why they don't end up playing double top like we did with Gwen and Sett. Because we didn't have a jungle presence, and that is probably costly down the line. Number 3. This mid game could really work, and if I ever get good at it, seeing the impact, there's no way that if I don't mid, that we're holding out for this long. If you get some wag job going 5 and 15 on RE in the mid, this game is over. If you get some highly dysfunctional Katarina player in the mid, this game is over. Playing conservatively with that immense power of that Berserker Warlock in Annie held out for so long. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, we have here this practical Satanist again, who is effectively diving into the spirit realm to try to come up with some kind of way to go 100-0, and he will keep creating new accounts and new League of Legends registrations until he gets it. And so he doesn't get it, and so at this point, he's just starting to add together random stuff to try to somehow discover something new, some kind of glitch in the matrix, some kind of mistake in the system to exploit as a last resort. So you're looking at AP here. Sett is an AD champion. Sett does not have any AP scaling abilities. So all of this just goes to waste. You may think that this would be like Lux buying Blade of the Ruined King, but it is not. This is actually a unique zero because when Lux would buy Blade of the Ruined King, it would at least be added to her auto attack. These items are not even added to Sett's auto attack. And you have to go out of your way to accomplish this, because keep in mind, a lot of champions have a hidden AP component to them, such as Sejuani, such as Vi. They actually do have AP potential that is usually never used, but could potentially penetrate the enemy's defenses better. But Sett, not so. Sett is really an example of the one guy where this would be totally and utterly useless on. So you absorb this 2,000 gold more than me, and you just deplete it into these items intentionally that don't do anything. We have an unusually controversial scoreboard here, I see, so I will just hover over everything and go one by one, yes and no, and then I will give you a very quick summary of every character. Gwen, yes, 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 yes. Conclusion, these two much faster. You're not that good, add more health. Caitlyn, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Conclusion, make sure that you start with this and this, because that's your key, not this. This is not key for Caitlyn. Lux here, yes, yes, no, yes, 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 but again, how good are you? You don't have the kind of playstyle that warrants going all out crazy offense like you're some kind of mastermind. Garen here, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. You put together Jinx here. You put together Jinx or you put together Yasuo. Not every melee warrior works in the same way in League of Legends. Some characters have different mechanics than others. You're assuming that Garen is just a thicker version of Yasuo. You have to do some basic research. Warwick here. Yes, no, yes, 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 yes. This could work if you're doing it in the right order. You would have to put a very heavy emphasis on this and on this. Not because of the attack speeds, what you think, but because of the ability haste and the health. However, certainly not optimal. Yes, 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 because you're a genius and you are the best player in this game and you understand indeed that it doesn't make any sense. This is once every blue moon you see this. This is an individual smart enough, presumably a Muslim immigrant from 2001, smart enough to understand that it doesn't make any sense to infinitely add attack when you can get zapped in one hit. Can you imagine that perhaps somebody would need some life points at some point? Can you imagine that not dying would be good? Nobody else seems to understand that. Trundle here? No, yes, no, yes, yes. Trundle is not about attack speed. You can add Ruined King all the way at the end as a cherry on top, but it is not part of his score in any way. It's just something extra to speed everything up. Yes, 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 yes. Useless character, but you put her together properly. Moving on.
Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Are you mentally handicapped? Why would you do that? To then immediately pull out? Why would you do that? What did you think was going to happen? You went after them on purpose and then immediately backed out, as though you were surprised. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
First blood.
Let's count your stars. Salvation. Get it, friend. I never play with matches.
has been slain.
Break time!
An ally has been slain.
Try to keep up. Don't be a scaredy cat!
An ally has been slain.
I'll come out wherever you want.
An enemy has been slain.
Have you seen my bear Tivers? Hop, skip, jump. Take that!
Killing spree.
Can they do this?
Executed.
This way. Yay, Tivers! Are we there yet? I never.
Rampage. Shut down.
Try to keep up.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Don't be a scaredy cat. Have you seen my bear Tivers? Are we there yet?
Shut down.
Come out, wherever you Hop, skip, jump. This way.
Ashes and dust.
An enemy has been slain.
Don't be a scaredy cat.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I never play with match.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Are we there yet?
An ally has been slain.
Make me hurt you.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Come out, wherever you
An enemy has been slain.
This is my favorite
You have slain an enemy.
Have you seen my dirt tippers? Skip, jump.
Your turret has been destroyed. An ally has been slain.
Try to keep up. This way.
Best stay down.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Try to keep up.
An ally has been slain.
Hop, skip, jump.
An enemy has been slain.
Don't be a scaredy cat. This way. Are we there yet? I never play with matches.
Team has destroyed a turret.
Ashes, ashes, they all fall down. Come out,
Enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Shut down. Shut down. Shut down.
Oh, damn it, I had the hourglass and I didn't use it. Damn it. Oh!
An enemy has been slain.
Have you seen my bear Tivers?
has been slain.
This way. Are we there yet?
An enemy is unstoppable.
Come out, wherever you are.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
I never play with matches.
Enemy has been slain.
Have you seen my dirt timbers?
Ally has been slain.
Yeah, I mean, if you luck out on everything, of course, like, yeah, that's gonna be difficult. If you show up literally the nanosecond after we click the Baron, that's going to be difficult to beat that, yeah. Yeah.
An ally has been slain. Your team
Yeah.
has destroyed an inhibitor.
Don't be a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
This way.
Enemy killing spree. An enemy has been slain.
Come out, wherever you are.
An ally has been slain.
Are we there yet?
Your turret has been destroyed.
I never play with matches.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Have you seen my dirt timbers?
has destroyed a turret.
Don't be a scaredy cat.
Has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain.
Come out wherever you are. Hop, skip, jump.
Busted heads!
The enemy's inhibitor has respawned.
Jaden. Unbelievable, Jaden.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. Shut down.
Are we
An
there
enemy
yet?
has been slain. Enemy double kill. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Enemy triple kill. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed. You have slain an enemy.
This way. Come out wherever you are.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been
Be
slain.
a scaredy cat.
Your inhibitor has respawned.
Hop, skip, jump. Have you seen my bear tippers?
enemy is legendary.
Come out.
An enemy has been slain. Enemy killing spree. An ally has been slain.
Try to keep up.
This is over. It's a matter of minutes, seconds. Besides, like, I'm not going to kill myself for this. I wouldn't know why. You couldn't hold them off. You couldn't hold them off for the 5 seconds that we were gone. Yeah,
Has
exactly.
been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Defeat.